We give orders. That gets into a little of that abuse of power that I mentioned before. Okay. We tend to lecture and moralize, thinking we're giving them this great light lesson. Might be a preacher's problem to get in the sermon. Okay. So they come across. We tend to give warnings. Okay. Okay. We even become martyrs. Okay. Now, let's figure out what might be better. Instead of attacking, let's try some problem solving. Okay? That's the problem with the stove. Let's think of a system that reminds you about turning off the stove. See, we're problem solving. Help us set a timer. Okay. Instead of name calling, describe what you feel. Go with what you feel. So disappointed. Your expensive calculator needs to be replaced. Okay? And now it becomes about me. That's the real feeling. Okay? Wait, with the choice, threats offer a choice. Okay? Can you read them? I'm sorry, you can't see. Oh, they're too low. Sorry. Let's go back one. Name calling, try describing what you feel instead of you lost your calculator, blah, blah, blah. I feel so disappointed. Your expensive calculator needs to be replaced. Instead of the threats, give a choice. Don't do your chores, I won't do mine. What threat? We've all got chores to do. Let's solve the problem. We can negotiate new ones, or you can cooperate in doing the ones you have. You see, there's limits, there's authority in that. You're not rolling over and becoming a doormat. It's saying, we can solve this. Try not to give orders. Instead, go with describing the problem. So turn off the TV and do your homework now. It's so late. Hey, the morning alarm rings in 7 hours, and I know you have some more homework to complete. What's your plan? Okay? That's so much more respectful than walking in and turning off the TV. Don't do it now. Okay? A lot of these are about respect. Instead of the sermon, just try a word. All that verbiage. You need to talk about this so kind words, please. Your voice to an adolescent can be so annoying. Bring it down. Okay? Use your voice when you really need it. Kind words, please. Much simpler, to the point. Leave it there. Okay? Instead of a warning, try something different. You start sneaking around the internet, you're headed for big trouble. Do something funny. Hop in there, internet police. Just a public service reminder to use this machine responsibly. Mom! Okay. That's all you need to say. And that little interruption changes things. Communicating what you need to do. Get past the martyrdom and make sacrifices all day long, blah, blah, blah. That's the thing I get. I feel disrespected. State your values, your expectations. I feel disrespected when you ignore my request. When I ask you to do something for me, I expect a polite answer. Do not need to roll over. Okay? Okay. The whole thing about communication, I think, boils down to this. That notion of I'm on your side. Your kid's going to have a lot of days. The whole world is telling them they are wrong, they're not adequate, they're not lovable. It's our communication that is going to communicate so well with the right method. Okay? So I think that's why all that stuff is so important. Okay. Last thing I wanted to see is that, does anybody love me? And this is often a quiet cry of our kids. So the tip is be intentional with your yes, I do. Be intentional with that. Now, I can remember days that I wasn't sure I did love my daughters. I really, truly, it was like, I really don't like you right now, and you don't like me, I'm pretty sure. They're hard to love sometimes, right? The best thing I know to do about that is to tiptoe into their room when they're sleeping. Just peek at them, and they're going to be drooling on the pillow. That room that you can't even get into is a mess, but you can see that face, and you're going to see the innocent child, and they are easy to love in that moment. It's like being reminded of the essence of them. And so when you're feeling those moments, find those kind of little things that get you back to, oh yeah. not only do I love you, I love you. And I want to work with you. So we say that our families, our relationships are our highest priorities. I bet everybody says that. We all do. But is the time allotted on your calendar reflect that? Would there be proof of that in your daily calendar? So I think that the trick is, what time do you really devote to creating that authentic connection? Remember, it's not bad warmth that hovers, and I've had these days, I spend all my time with my kid, and they still don't talk to me. Well, maybe it's not good kind of warmth, maybe it's not the right kind of talking, stuff we've been talking about today. So I think it's what time do you really devote to the authentic connections, and genuinely guarding time with intentionality for family time. And that's hard to do, especially when they don't want it. Right? They say, I don't want to spend time with the family, right? I think though, when you start, you set a norm and expectation, and you can negotiate some limits around it. Here's our problem, we got to negotiate something. We need to have some kind of time. And I don't know, and I'm not always I am an advocate for family dinner. I think that is something we've got to find ways to carve out, but also just advocate for those other smaller times. And what I love to have kids say is, in our family, we always. In fact, it's one of the indicators of a healthy family when the children in it can say, in our family, we always, and however you finish a sentence, we always have ice cream together on Sunday nights. We always sit around the fire at this particular time of year. In our family, we always, have a candle at dinner on Sunday. Whatever that is, it meets so many belonging needs and grounding needs and root needs. And it's also making a connection, that they know where they are, whose they are. Okay? So I think that be intentional with your yes. I, in fact, love you. All right. I'm going to stop here. We have about 5 minutes, I think, for your questions, concerns, comments. What did we get that you really wanted to get? Challenges. No way. What do you want to talk about?
I think it's hard to compare. I mean, a lot of what you said, I agree with everything. Except sometimes I feel like I'm sacrificing principle for peace. And I'm giving up on the principle of a parenting basic that I grew up with, or that I grew up with, just to keep the peace. Yeah. And then it does feel like rolling over. So that's just a challenge.
Yeah, that thing of, and it's, so she said she sometimes feels like she gives up in order to keep the peace, she might give up a principle. And knowing, is it worth it? I think is really the question in that. And I think that's hard. I do think it's hard. And there are going to be some things you're not going to know whether, shoot, you learn 5 years later, you're going to give it up on that one. Or, yeah, that one worked out okay. Trust your instincts is my best advice on that. And keep revisiting that a little bit. But I think sometimes we hold on to some of those principles longer than we needed to, because each kid is unique, each family in this generation is unique. So I agree it's hard to know.
But I think you touched on it earlier, like when we were talking about the messy room, like if you can just say, well, personally, I don't like if your room is messy, but I want you to have your autonomy. At the same time, I feel like you're going to be in a world with other people at some point, or you don't want creatures in your room, or you give them some kind of, not only your own personal reason, but the principle behind that reason. Like I struggle with this myself, and I found that in the world, this. So it's not just, this is my personal opinion, or this is how I raised my way to highway. It's also, here's the reasons why I feel this way. This is what I have found. And, if you're going to be out in the world eventually, I want you to be able to be successful in this area and not have people judge you negatively before you can even share your positive aspects. Right. Whatever. But
and some of that is that, the becoming consultant kind of thing, that what you can do with a consultant. Usually you pay them and then you use their advice or not. So I think part of what you can say, my experience is when you got in the world, it's gonna be like this. And I tell you that as a consultant, not as somebody who's now demand you to do this. That's part of our challenge. They get to have some control over the choices they make. We want to inform them, give our experience and that kind of stuff. And they will say, your world is so different than mine. Okay? You don't know anything about my world. Well, there's some truth to that, but there's also some universal truths. And I think it's some of those universal truths that we don't want to give up on. I think the other thing, though, it's hard. I think the thing that resonated with me and what Elizabeth was, is this worth? Could this damage our relationship so much? If I go to battle about this thing or stand up for this principle, that I lose my power to influence that child. And I don't always know where. Is this going to be the thing that tips them over the edge? I think sometimes we overreact to that. Our kids want to be connected to us, so it takes a lot to ruin that relationship. So use some judgment in that. Yeah.
And I think the home is the safe place to test that out, though. Because it sounds like what she's saying is she wants to impart certain values she has. We all do to our children, but I almost want them to argue with me here in this safe place where. I'm here to protect you. I'm not going to put you in harm's way. I tell my kids all the time, your conscience is going to sound like me. If you can't do it in front of me, it's probably not good for you because I would never put you in harm's way. And I'm like, if you can't do it in front of me, maybe it's not the greatest choice. But it's hard not to do the I told you so. With my eldest, with his grades, it was like, if you had listened to me, you'd be where you want to be right now. You're not. And it was like, holding myself back, but having, like you said,
the power to make that choice.
Right, and then letting them have the consequences to learn, because that's how we
greater
learn.
life lesson than
Through
the
mistakes, right?
Yeah.
So, but it's define those non-negotiables in your house, because we have those unspoken rules that if I live with you, you know them, but if I don't, you don't. So you need to say what they are.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean?
Exactly. Yep, opportunity to hear those. Yes.
This is more of a broader question, but I think, is it appropriate, because as adults, we all have stresses too. But I think sometimes that gets lost and got into your kids of a lot of people here have aging parents, a lot of people have, different dynamics going on at home or at work, and I've been having hormones raging.
Right.
So how do you impart some of this stuff sometimes without loading on too much baggage on them?
Right.
But also letting them know that you're needing to and you're letting stuff.
Exactly. And I think that's really fair. That's a life skill to empathize with the person I'm living with. That, she has some needs and some struggles too. And in fact, maybe I could be helpful to her. So I think it's really, what you don't want to do is make it their problem. So I think sometimes we unload stuff and then the child thinks they're supposed to be solving that stuff. But it's much more to say, and I think it's to stay rooted in what's honest. It's also to take some conscious exploration. One of the things we often see with kids, I can remember yelling at my daughter one time about this outfit she was choosing, and oops, why am I getting so angry? And I had to step back and say, I get it. She is hot, and my whole body is falling south. I was actually feeling pretty jealous of her at that moment, and miscommunicated all that stuff, and had to get my act together about that. And I think similarly, it's fine to say, it's better when I could go back and, what, I think I was just feeling a little jealous actually, and it's fine for you to wear that outfit, but I need to come up a little bit higher and down a little lower, and it'll be cool. But also, other times, similarly, I can say, I just can't handle this today. I am so stressed out because of what's happening at work. I can't respond to you. I can't be a good listener right now. I need to put a parentheses around this, and I promise I will get back to you. Those kind of a mistake I made. I blew up at you, and I'm really, really sorry. Last night I didn't handle it well because blah blah blah. I got it. I'm working on it. We're solving these issues. But that's why I was not a good communicator. But it still means you can't go to that party. Now, if you want to negotiate around that, I'm in a better place to do that.